Good morning, students. This is Nawab Hussain, your social science teacher. Welcome to online teaching session of Academic World School, Demetra. And today I shall be teaching the remaining part of geography, class 10th NCERT geography. And the subtopics are sustainable development, resource planning, and land resource. Last time I had taught many topics, and these topics are also associated with the previous topics. And before starting, I would like to advise all of you to take out your notebooks and textbook and be ready. You have to be parallel with me and you have to follow me, and remember, in the end of the session I shall be giving some assignments and you have to note it down and solve it at your home, and when the school reopens I shall check those assignments. So be careful, be attentive, be alert, and do watch me carefully, because whatever I am going to teach, assignments are going to be based on that. So let me start with sustainable development. See, sustainable, all of you know, it literally means that can last long. So here sustainable is associated with development. So sustainable development means the development that lasts long. So what kind of development we need at the present moment? All over the world we can see that the kind of development that is taking place, I do think that it is not going to be sustainable development. Before going into the deep of this topic, I would like to give an example. Recently I have been to Delhi, and there I met my friend, and I asked him, I started discussing with him about the surrounding, and I told him, my dear friend, you must be very much happy because you are living in this metropolitan city, and see, all around you there are shopping complexes, then public parks are there, so many industries are there. So in short, your city is very glamorous and you must be enjoying in your city. So thereafter my friend told me that, Mr. Hussain, what are you thinking that I am living in Delhi, I am enjoying. You stay here, then you will come to know about the actual truth associated with Delhi. Here, okay, there is no shortage of money, there is abundant money. But I do think that the life expectancy of a person is not having the guarantee. Here, anyone who does live, his life expectancy goes down gradually. You can see the pollution level here, okay? And this is all because of what? Here, the development has taken place at the cost of environment. Environment is being damaged and factories are being set up. Then roads are being constructed and railway tracks are being expanded just to keep parallel with the increasing population. So what do you think that the kind of development that has taken place in Delhi, is this going to last long? I don't think that this development is going to last long. This is a temporary development, just like bubbles of water. Bubbles of water is temporary. Okay, it does exhibit its appearance for a short while, but after some time it disappears. It vanishes. In the same way, the kind of development that is taking place is temporary, like the droplet of bubbles. And I don't think that this development is going to last long. Okay, we are taking advantage of this development. The present generation is taking advantage of this development, but our future generation is not going to take the advantage of this development. So what is the use of this development? It is just like a Hindi proverb, "Do din ki chandni, fir andheri raat." Okay, so this kind of thing must not happen. We must have such kind of development that must last long, that must be sustainable, and with this development we will be able to take advantage, and our future generation will also be able to take advantage. Okay, so how will we define it? Sustainable development it says that the development must take place keeping in mind the needs of future generation without damaging our environment. So it says that the development must take place keeping in mind the needs of future generation without damaging our environment. Okay, so this is everlasting development, this is lasting development. From here we find three features. Okay, first, it is lasting development, and second, it takes into consideration the needs of future generation, and the third, it doesn't harm our environment. So if all these things are achieved, then certainly we are going to have sustainable development. Okay, and this is the significance of sustainable development. Okay, its advantages are experienced by the present generation as well as the future generation. Okay, next I am going to discuss about resource planning. So what should be the ways to achieve sustainable development? Okay, in mathematics you know that there are various problems, and these problems can be solved by a proper method. So this is just like mathematical formula, and we can solve the problem associated with our environment by adopting some appropriate methods. If these methods are followed, if these measures are followed, certainly we will hit this destination. This is our target, this is our destination, and we can reach this destination. It is not a difficult one to be reached. Okay, so next I shall be discussing about resource planning. Resource planning. What is resource planning? You know what does planning mean? Planning means strategy. Okay, so if we respect our resources, if we respect our nature, if we take care of our mother nature, then we know that we will be able to reach sustainable development. We will be able to bring down sustainable development in our country, and the whole country will be benefited. So resource planning is a strategy regarding the use of resources judiciously. Resource planning is a strategy that put focus on use of resources judiciously. Okay, I am writing it down here, note it down. A strategy regarding the judicious use of resources. It is a strategy regarding the judicious use of resources. Note it down. So what does this line mean? It puts focus on the careful uses of resources. Resources must not be wasted. In my last class, I had told that what Gandhiji had told. Our nature has given ample resources, and they are enough to satisfy the needs and desires of everyone. But there is a condition. Your need, your need must be alone. It must not be associated with greed. If your need becomes associated with greed, then it leads to over exploitation of resources. And finally, there is the depletion of resources. So Gandhiji had suggested that okay, use resources, but your need must not be associated with greed. And if your need is alone, if your need is separated from the greed, then certainly it will lead to conservation of resources, judicious use of resources. Okay, so this is a part of resource planning. Next, how resource planning must be done. Okay, if you come out and say I am going for resource planning, it is not enough. There must be three things in your mind. Before resource planning, you must keep three things in your mind. And if you keep these three things in your mind, then you are going to have solid resource planning. Absolutely solid and excellent resource planning, which will help you to bring development in your country, and this development will last long. This development will be sustainable development. Okay, so next I am going to discuss about what are the three steps involved in resource planning. Three steps in resource plan. First, survey and mapping. Second point, use of appropriate technology. And the third one, match between National Development Plan and Resource Development Plan. Let me explain each of the point. There must be three steps. There must be three steps that must be involved in resource planning. If we take into our consideration these 3 points, these 3 lines, then we will have a proper, very good, spectacular and solid resource plan. First one is survey and mapping. Survey and mapping. It is a significant part of resource planning. Unless and until we do have proper survey, we do have proper mapping, we are not going to have resources. It will become very difficult for us to make access to the resources. Okay, so survey and mapping help us to find out what is the exact location of the resources. Next thing, in what quantity the resources are available. Next thing, what is the quality of the resources. Suppose there is a city and in that city resources are available. Okay, and in the city the resources are not abundantly available. Next thing, the quality of the resource is very poor. So do you think that it is proper for us to have an access to that kind of resource? If we are having our access to that kind of resource by using costly machines, then we are foolish. We are foolish. Actually, the resources must be available in the abundant quantity and it must have good quality. And if we make investment to extract such resources, then certainly we will be in a profitable position. So this helps in finding out the absolute quantity and quality of the resources. Through this we can know what is the exact location of the resources, in what quantity the resources are available, and what is the quality of the resources. And if the resources are available in abundant quantity, if the resources do have very good quality, then we will go for having access to that resources and we will be in a profitable position. So this is the first one. Second, use of appropriate technology. What kind of technology must be utilized by us? Technology must be very good. It must be latest technology, it must be modern technology. Technology should be such that must not harm our environment. Technology should be like that, it must not lead to wastage of our resources. Only such technology must be welcomed. If we are having this kind of technology, certainly we will be in a profitable position. So second point is use of appropriate technology. Such technology that must not harm our environment, such technology that must not lead to the wastage of resources. Next, there must be match between resource development plan of your area and the national development plan. What does the national development plan ask for? The goal of national development plan is to bring development in the whole country in a balanced way. And suppose Raipur is the capital city of Chhattisgarh, and in Raipur the resource development plan is not up to the mark, and here the development is being brought down at the cost of environment. Trees are being cut down, environment is being harmed. In this way, people are focusing on development. So what do you think? That the resource development plan of Raipur is matching with the national development plan? What does the national development plan ask for? An all-round development. Every corner of India must develop in a balanced way. Then India will be called developed country. If any corner of India lags behind, then whole India will lag behind. So what kind of development must take place in Raipur? Sustainable development, proper resource development, all three steps must be involved there. Okay, and development must take place. Industries must be set up. It is not that we are preventing that industries must not be set up. Industries must be set up, but there are norms, there are rules and regulations. Industry must follow the rules and regulations of Pollution Control Board. There are many such industries like NTPC. It is an industry, but it is well reputed across the length and breadth of India. It takes care of the environment. It uses all the pollution control devices. If industries are using all the pollution control devices, if industries are following all the norms and regulations of Pollution Control Board, then certainly our environment will not be harmed by industries, and the development that will come up will be lasting one. Okay, so if this kind of thinking is developed even in Raipur will also develop, keeping in pace with the rest of the areas, and we will have a balanced development all over India. Okay, so every corner of India must follow resource development planning, and if every corner of India is following resource development planning, then India will have a balanced development. No corner of India will lag behind. No corner of India will be left behind. Okay, so it is over, and note it down. Next, I am going to discuss about land resources. So, should land be called a resource? My reply will be yes, land is a resource. Last time what I told, anything that satisfies your need must be called resource, and land also satisfies your need. Today we are able to stand on the earth because we do have energy. And do you imagine where does this energy come from? This energy comes from the food that we consume. So who does produce this food? Again, land. So we are dependent on our farmers. We are dependent on land. So land is giving us something, land is providing or supplying us the food. So land must be called resource. Next, there is a very significant feature of land. Land is of finite magnitude. Land is of finite magnitude. What do I mean? That land is fixed. Land is limited. It is not that if we see all around us, we find a huge area. Take the example of India. India is having the area of 3.28 square million kilometer. What is the area of India? 3.28 square million kilometer. Okay, this is the area of India, and don't think that India is having sufficient plots, land plots. It is limited, it is fixed. So what is our duty? When we utilize land, we must be careful. We must use every bit of land very carefully, because land is not unlimited. Take the example of elastic. It can be stretched, it can be expanded. Is our land stretchable? Can we expand our land? No. One example I would like to give. Suppose I am having 2 hectares of land. Initially I cultivate over my land and I cultivated up to 1 hectare. So in the next moment I do utilize another 1 hectare of land. So overall I have utilized 2 hectares of land. Now I am not left with any piece of land. Whole of the land has been utilized by me. So now is it possible for me to stretch my land plot? It is not possible. So what is my duty? I must utilize every bit of land very carefully. Okay. Why? Because land is of finite magnitude. Okay. Next, I am going to discuss about land utilization. Land utilization itself says that the land utilized for various purposes. Okay. It is not that land is utilized only for particular purpose and it is agriculture. There are several uses of land. So the use of land utilization means the use of land for various purposes. Now we are going to discuss about agricultural and non-agricultural uses of the land. Agricultural uses and non-agricultural uses. Under agricultural uses comes gross cropped area, then second net sown area, next third culturable wasteland, then current fallow, and other than current fallow. Then non-agricultural uses. Under non-agricultural uses comes forest cover, then land utilized for tree crops, pastoral land, and other uses. Now I am going to discuss about each of the point. In details. Let me start with gross cropped area. Gross cropped area and net sown area I am going to explain. And gross cropped area is a difficult one. And before discussing about gross cropped area, I am going to discuss about net sown area. If you understand net sown area, then you will be able to understand gross cropped area. Net sown area. What does it mean? The area which is sown once in an agricultural year is called net sown area. Take the example, only Rabi crops are grown in your field, then your field will fall in the category of net sown area. Say Rabi crops or Kharif crops, any one crop, if you grow in your land plot in an agricultural year, then your land plot will be placed in this category. Your land plot will be called net sown area. Okay, so here I am writing the definition. The area which is sown once in an agricultural year is called net sown area. Okay, so now I do think that you must have understood the term net sown area. The area which is sown once in an agricultural year is called net sown area. Next I am going to explain gross cropped area. Note it down. What is gross cropped area? Before explaining this, I would like to give an example. Suppose there are two persons, Ramu and Syamu. Very similar to Bollywood characters, Ramu and Syamu. Suppose both are farmers and Ramu is also having land plot and Syamu is also having land plot. Okay. Once Ramu goes to Syamu and asks, Mr. Syamu, how many crops do you grow in your land plot? Then Syamu says, what do you want to do? It is my property and my property is my personal property, and why will I tell you? What you want to do? Getting information from me? Then Ramu again asks Syamu, just I want to know, I want to have the idea, how many crops do you grow? Then Syamu says, okay, I am telling you, I do grow only one crop in an agricultural year. It is Rabi crop. In the month of November or October, I do grow it. Okay, so only one crop I do grow in an agricultural year. Now you tell me, it's your turn. How many crops do you grow in an agricultural year? Ramu, tell me. Then Ramu says that I am far better in condition than you. You are able to grow only one crop in an agricultural year. I am richer than you. My land plot is very much fertile and I do grow more than one crop. I do grow Rabi crop, I do grow Kharif crop in my land plot. This is my status. Okay, so minimum 2 crops I do grow in an agricultural year. Now what I mean to say that if we combine Ramu's land and Syamu's land, then we will get gross crop area. Okay, what did I tell? Sown more than once in an agricultural year plus sown once in an agricultural year, we will get gross crop area. So mathematically, how we will define gross crop area is equal to the area which is sown more than once in an agricultural year plus the area which is sown once in an agricultural year. This is net sown area. There is a particular term. There is no particular term for this, but we do have particular term. It is also known as net sown area. So net sown area plus the area which is sown more than once in an agricultural year equal to gross crop area. You might have understood this concept. Okay. Next I am moving to cultivable wasteland. Note it down. Cultivable wasteland. It is also cultivable land, but it is left uncultivated for more than 5 years. Why it is left more than 5 years? So that it may regain its fertility, so that it may restore its fertility. So I am here writing its definition. If the area is left uncultivated for more than 5 years, it is called cultivable wasteland. This is the definition of cultivable wasteland. And remember, I am not saying that it is a barren land or bad land. It is cultivable once it is in use, but willingly, deliberately it is left uncultivated for more than 5 years so that it can restore its fertility. Okay, next I am shifting to current fallow. Current fallow. If the area is left uncultivated less than 1 year, then it is called current fallow. It's for a while it looks similar to this one, but take into your consideration the time period. What am I saying? Lesser than 1 year. It is left uncultivated. I am talking about cultivable wasteland. It is left uncultivated for more than 5 years. Then it will be called cultivable wasteland. And if the land is left uncultivated for lesser than 1 year, then it is called current fallow. It is also done so that it may restore its fertility. So the area, if the area or agricultural plot is left uncultivated for less than 1 year, it is called current fallow. Okay, so you might have understood, and now you are in a position that you can easily distinguish between current fallow and culturable wasteland. Next I am going to discuss about other than current fallow. Okay, it is also little bit similar to these lands, but it has also got a stipulated time period, and its time period is more than 1 year and lesser than 5 years. If the land is left uncultivated for more than 1 year and lesser than 5 years, then it is called other than current fallow. I am writing here. Other than current fallow. If the land is left uncultivated between 1 to 5 years, it is called other than current fallow. Okay, now you can easily make differences between all these terms: other than current fallow, culturable wasteland, and current fallow. You will be easily distinguish among all of these terms, and these terms are very easy. Okay, next I am going to discuss about non-agricultural uses. So far I had discussed about agricultural uses. My next topic is non-agricultural uses. Okay, all of you know that some parts of land are covered by the forest. So it is also one of many uses of the land. Some part of the land are covered by forest. Do you know what percentage of our total land plot of India is covered with forest? It is 22.57%. 22.57% of the total land area of India is covered with forest, and it is according to the census of 2003. Okay. Next, some parts of our land plots are covered with tree, some parts of our land plots are covered with pasture. Okay, and some parts have been utilized for like human settlement, construction of roads and railways. So these are the various uses of land plots. Okay, out of these uses, there are some uses which are in pathetic condition. One is forest, and next one is pastoral land. Okay, and net zone area. What do you think that there is sufficient net zone area in India? You know that India is having more than 100 crore population, and this 100 crore population requires abundant supply of food grains, and it is only possible if we do have sufficient net zone area. Otherwise, we will have to depend on the foreign countries. And you know what happens when we depend on the foreign countries? Our external debt will increase. Okay, so every country must have sufficient net zone area. In India, we are having tremendous size of population, and keeping in mind that tremendous size of population, we must have sufficient net zone area. But I don't think that there is sufficient net zone area. With the increasing size of population, day by day, net zone area is decreasing. It is declining. Why? With the increasing size of population, the human settlement area is expanding. Okay, next thing, expansion of railway tracks, expansion of roadways. and other communication networks are increasing, and consequently day by day net zone area is decreasing. So this is not a very good sign. Okay. Next, forest cover. If we compare the forest cover of the present with the forest cover of 1960, let me tell you, in 1960 the forest cover in India was 18.11. 18.11% of India was covered with forest. Okay, and in 2003, in 2002 to 2003, there had been tremendous increase, and it increased to 22.57%. So what do you think? Will you feel happy? I am not happy. I am very much disappointed. Actually, as per the National Forest Policy of 1952, a target had been set up, and the target was 33%. Our Indian government had pledged to achieve this target. It had planned that in future we have to achieve 33% of the total land area of India as a forest cover, but we have not achieved that target. Still we lag behind. Okay, as against 1960, there has been increase. There is 22.57% as compared to 18.11% of 1960. But still it is not satisfactory because we haven't reached the target of 33%. If we achieve the target of 33%, if India will have 33% of its total land area as a forest cover, then it is satisfactory sign. Next is pastoral land. Again, you know that with the increasing size of population, the pastoral land is also decreasing. Why? There is a human settlement area is expanding, railway network, road networks are expanding, and all these have led to decrease in the size of pastoral land. And it is showing the negative impact on our cattle. You know how much cattle is important. It is used in agricultural field. Then we do drink the milk of cows and buffaloes. And what do you think? That these animals will not be affected by the decrease in size of pastoral land. If the pastoral land decreases, then these animals will not have sufficient pasture and their health will be affected. Their milk producing capacity will go down, and ultimately we will be affected. So it is our duty to take care of net zone area, forest cover and pastoral land. Okay. Now I am going to wrap up my class by summarizing whatever I have taught today, and in the end I shall give you the assignments. Initially I started with sustainable development. Sustainable development is a long-lasting development, okay, and every country must think for this kind of development. Even our India has planned to achieve this kind of development. This kind of development lasts long, and it is not only beneficial for present generation but also for the future generation. Okay. Next thing, resource planning. Proper resource planning should be there. If we are having proper resource planning, then we will be able to achieve this kind of development. This is our goal. This is our destination. Okay. Next, we read about land resources. Okay. Land is of finite magnitude, and that's why land should be taken care of. Every bit of the land must be used carefully. Okay. So we must overall our duty is to respect our nature. Just like we do have mother in our home, and how much we do respect our mother. In the same way, our nature is also a kind of mother, and we must respect our nature. Okay, we must take care of our nature. Okay. Next, I am going to give the assignment. First assignment, what is sustainable development? Second, what is resource planning? One more question is associated with this question. What are the 3 steps involved in resource planning? Okay, so second number question is having double questions. What is resource planning and what are the 3 steps involved in resource planning? That's all. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care of yourself and do solve all these questions. Okay.